Hi everyone, my name is Junon. I have a health science background and I'm the author of the book Truth and Empathy, How to Find Your Soulmate. And I'll put a link to my book below. This video is about why many sensor perceivers believe that they are intuitives. This is a tough subject because so many people want to feel special and different, and believing that they are an intuitive is their way of standing out. But when we look at the general population, at least 85% of them are sensors, and a good portion are sensor perceivers. So you're more likely to meet a sensor in real life than an intuitive. Now, how can we differentiate a sensor perceiver from an intuitive? So I will go through some key differences. Now, when it comes to sensors in general, is that they're more likely to be mouth breathers versus nose breathers because sensors have a beta brainwave dominance, and it is between 12 and 16 cycles per second. So that's their dominant brainwaves, and that is after correction because most people are chronically stressed, so their brainwaves go faster, so they usually have a brainwave dominance of around 15 cycles per second. Now, because of that, this has an impact on their resting breathing rate, and a person's resting breathing rate is a reflection of a 1-to-1 ratio to their brainwave dominance. So in other words, if a person's dominant brain is 16 cycles per second, it means that their resting brain will be 16 breaths per minute. So already there's a difference because an intuitive has an alpha or theta brain dominance. So naturally they breathe slower, which means that they are more likely to breathe through the nose versus through the mouth, and they're more likely to have a well-developed jaw because the tongue is in the right position, and the tongue, which rests on the palate, shapes the upper jaw. So you'll see that intuitives have wider jaws than sensors in general. That's one aspect. And because a person who's a sensor breathes mostly to the mouth, they're more likely to be poorly oxygenated. So in other words, they suffer from hypoxia, and that affects their brain. So when it comes to sensor perceivers, when they do experience a mental illness, and that's actually most of them, they often have either ADHD or ADD. So what happens is that sensor perceivers, when it comes to their dominant neurotransmitter, it is dopamine. And dopamine has to do with what is new, what is different. So you'll see that sensor perceivers tend to have a short attention span. So when they do have a mental illness, again, it's going to be either ADD or ADHD because it has to do with not being able to focus long-term on any topic or subject unless they're very interested in it. By contrast, intuitives are less likely to have a mental illness, and if they do, it will probably not be ADHD or ADD because they tend to have a long attention span. The other aspect when it comes to a sensor perceiver versus an intuitive has to do with the fact that they are less likely to stay long-term in school because sensor perceivers are better at learning on the job. So they are very much hands-on because when you look at their function stack, their first or second function is extroverted sensing. A sensor perceiver will be attracted to entertainment, whether it is being a singer, an actor, it could be an artist. The other point also, they might be into athleticism. So you won't see someone like Einstein wanted to become a track and field star. This will not happen. So in other words, sensor perceivers tend to be much more well known than intuitives because there are more of them, and they are involved in professions that put them in the category of celebrities. So you'll see them interested again in entertainment, athleticism, or even business. So you'll see they have a combination of both. So they could be a singer who also has a business on the side, and that is something that you see over time. So they'll be involved in different aspects of these professions. The other aspect when it comes to super is that they're more likely to engage in short-term relationships. So for them, being married long-term to the same mate is kind of challenging, especially if they are the masculine type of sense of perceiving. For example, ESTP or ISTP, because they like what is new, what is different, and they get bored essentially being with the same partner for long periods of time. And obviously when you're in a relationship, most of the activities will be repetitive and boring, paying the bills, raising the children, things of the sort. So they're not really made for that. That's why even again in terms of the profession, they like professions that are risk taking and they're different. Like if you say you're an actor, you finish a project, you move on to another one, a different city, different story. So it keeps them interested, and it's necessarily not the case when it comes to having the same partner for a long period of time. The other aspect when it comes to the sense of perceivers versus intuitives is that the themes of their lives will be different. So sense of perceivers is freedom of movement, just like we described, and for intuitives, when it say they are the feminine type, so let's say someone who's an ENFJ, it will be spirituality and meaning, and if the person is an intuitive thinker, it will be knowledge and power. So again, they're not driven by the same theme and the same sort of like interest, because of the fact that again the overarching sort of like theme of their life will be different. Now the other aspect when it comes to sense of perceivers is that how they present themselves. So these are the type of people, because of their profession, they like what is different. So they might have like tattoos, earrings, blue hair. They might be dressing, in an odd way, because of the fact that again they like what is sort of like unusual. So you won't see that with intuitives. Intuitives, dress conservatively. You won't see Mother Teresa with yellow hair or a tattoo or having ripped jeans. It's probably not going to happen. So already that tells you the difference between these two. Now, the other aspect when it comes to sense perceivers, why they would believe that they are intuitives, is the fact that yes, they're more intuitive than sensor judgers, but that doesn't mean that they are part of the intuitives. So I think that actually gives you some sort of key differences between these two main groups, and why so many people believe that they are intuitives when in fact they are sensor perceivers. And that is, especially if the ones who are like, for example, ISFP, because they are the most intuitive of the sensor perceivers. So they might confuse these two. And the other aspect is that when it comes to sensor perceivers, is they might be interested in spiritual matters, so that you'll see them very much in the new age movement. So that again can be sort of like confusing, because they can have some paranormal abilities. So they say, well, if I have that, then I'm more spiritually advanced, quote unquote, then I should be part of the intuitives. But it's totally different. So in other words, it has to do with their brain type, their resting breathing rate, their jaw development, the type of mental illness they will actually develop over time, their interests, their like even in terms of career choice. All of this will be different from an intuitive. So let me know what you think about the content of this video by commenting below. If you like this video, if you learned something, please click on the like button. Also remember to click on the notification bell to be notified of other videos I'm going to be making. Subscribe to my channel, and we will talk soon.